Terran versus Protoss. The Fighting Spirit ban I thought was kind of interesting from Horang2. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's okay to ban it. I guess because he's playing against Last, it's a good choice. Because Last is such a standard macro Terran, and definitely if anyone can play a similar brand of Flash, it's this man.
So, in a best of 5, you got to have a pretty big variety of play styles. You know, I don't imagine that Horang2 can just cheese his way through and get 3 wins. I think he's going to have really solid late game play, right? You have to, right?
Well, I think you do because Last is doing multiple build orders now. If you know a Terran plays one way, you can actually counter it really, really easily.
Yeah.
And we have seen that happen to him before. But yeah, if you're mixing up your play a lot, if it could be gasless expand, if it could be 2-factory, if it could be factory expand, could be starport play. You know, if you have that big range that he has now shown throughout the group. I think that it's going to have to go long. Horang2's going to have to be able to bring out a variety of different plays as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think a couple proxy games or something crazy like that, that's fine. But he needs to have a game where he's going to win with carriers or arbiters in the super late moments. It's scary, though, because Last is kind of one of these Terrans that just doesn't have any holes in his play.
Yeah.
And for a lot of Protosses, that's really frustrating because a Terran can play a very withdrawn macro style, and there's not that many ways to poke holes into it. Now, it seems like in the modern PvT, we see that Reavers are an absolute must in a lot of the early developing mid-game. So maybe there's going to be some moments for Horang2 to really get in there and do some damage.
Yeah.
But I don't know how strong he really is with some of these Reavers. You know, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think of him as a great Reaver player. I mean,
He's
you
not
don't
bad,
necessarily need to get damage done with the Reaver. You don't even necessarily really need the Reaver that much. Like, speed shuttles in general are very good right now in PvT.
Yes.
And some of the maps in the pool play in certain ways. Like, we're going to Fortress first. This is one where there are those island expands, right?
Sure.
So that is definitely a map where things like arbiters and carriers for a late game are going to be very powerful.
Yeah, well, also, I mean, it really does incentivize you to go Reavers anyways if there is an island.
Yeah.
Because you get the shuttle out, you're waiting for the Reaver to pop out, you grab a probe, throw it on the island, and suddenly you've got an expansion that not only is hard for Terran to get to, but it's easy to defend with a shuttle and a Reaver. So
it's
works out very nicely.
Yeah. So, yeah, Fortress is going to be a kind of cool one to see. Last time he played this is the map he 2-factored on that we get to keep watching. And every time the commercial's on and we're watching, you're like, this is how my PvTs go. And then I call her Tosis and ask him what to do against Terran. He says, make arbiters.
Make arbiters, Tosis. I just hang up the phone. Can't talk to him about StarCraft unless the cameras are on.
Terran? Like, tasteless. I wouldn't. If you can't beat Terran with Protoss, I can't trust you with my children, man. Like...
There's been a lot of these super aggressive pushes coming up here. I don't think we're going to see any from Last, though.
He used one against Mini last time, though, right? So he could mix one in.
I don't know,
I think in a best of 5.
If you can predict that they're going to 2-fac you.
Oh, yeah, you can crush it.
You just smash it. It's like, what are you doing?
But you mix in like one in a best of 5.
Yeah.
I think that's a sick move.
Actually, maybe it would be a good idea to do on a map like this, since I think Protoss is going to be so focused on trying to get into late game because of the way the map is shaped with the islands.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you want to punish that and just push out right away.
But it is the map.
Him.
It's the map he did that against Mini on. He did the 2-fact here against Mini. So is it too predictable to do it again?
I don't know. I mean, that's the question. I mean, sometimes because it's so predictable, these guys will overthink it and be like, well, he can't do that. He already did it again. He's like,
you know what?
I'm going to do it every game, bro.
He's going to go Gasless Expo into Starport. 1-fact Starport.
You think so?
Yes. I think that's a very good opening build for this map, considering the
Gasless
builds that he
Expo.
showed last time.
But what if we see, what if Horang2 does what Snow's done and just counters it so hard with the Reaver right at the front?
Because Mini was trying to do that against Last, and Last didn't do any gasless expands at all in that series.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great mind game to bring back what is actually Last's best build and go for that gasless expand and kind of throw Horang2 off like right from the beginning.
Yeah, I believe there's actually been some problem with Horang2's computer. We have – oh, no, okay, it's fixed. There was a problem, but it looks like it's not a problem anymore.
I don't know if we can trust this guy.
To stop us from jumping into this game. Again, guys, this is a best of 5. And remember, in the KSL, the winner picks the map. Usually it's the loser. So game 1, very important. You can suddenly map pick your way to a victory. All right, we're ready. Let's Let's do this, guys. The last game of this phase of the tournament. It's Horang2 versus Last.
All right. In the 3 o'clock position, we have Horang2. And down at the bottom at 6 o'clock. Looks like we have Last. So positionally speaking, I like it a little bit better for Horang2, but in this matchup, not necessarily always
It's not the biggest deal.
I guess it would be hardest if you were doing something like an aggressive quick push like 2 factory after command center against a Reaver or something. That would be where Horang2 might be able to abuse you there, but that's about it.
Whoa. That's a really... Uh-oh. That might be the best draw. And
That is sick.
Crazy.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Wow, she just printed that right off the internet. We're like, oh.
Yeah.
That was really impressive.
That was awesome. That guy is winning something.
Oh, we was just announced he did win it.
He won the mechanical keyboard.
He won the mechanical keyboard. Damn.
Thank you, Andy. A wonderful translator.
That's right.
It's not just G-Clef boys.
It's a whole squad of amazing translators we have down here.
That's right.
Now, we have the gateway coming down here for Horang2. And we're going to wait and see. Because we were wondering, all right, is he going to do like a gases expand? We see it looks like the barracks is going to be made over here.
It is the gases expand. Now, if he goes for Starport, I'm going to walk out of here, moonwalk out of here.
I would not blame you, Artosis. Now, Horang2 is not scouted yet. But there are things that Protosses are doing now to try to counter this. So I want to see if Horang2 can do this, because we actually were questioning, is this going to stay in the meta? Is this like still a viable build? Because, you know, there's so much that can be done to hurt you in that process.
Yeah, there's a couple things that I think are really good against Gasless Expand right now. You talked about the Reaver a little bit, going very fast Reaver. Like, either you scout this and proxy the Reaver, or if you just blindly go Robo in your main, it feels like you can kind of do the same thing, because it's still a quick Robo. And then there's another one on a map like this that's flat, which would be 2-gate range goon. I forget who did this. Maybe it was even Movie, where there was one Zealot, and he got up to 6 goons. Yeah, right? And he walked in, and the bunker auto-targeted the Zealot, which starts with a base armor and has a lot of health, right? And then the goons just one-shotted so many SCVs by the time the Zealot died, and I was just sitting there like, oh my God, that was really good, actually.
Yeah.
I really like that build. Obviously, it really slows down the Nexus, so we haven't seen that too much, but I thought it was a pretty cool
It's a cool
counter.
approach. It really is, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
You never liked 2-gate. All you do is complain about 2-gate.
I don't like 2-gate, dude. You know what it is? I don't feel like I get the intel later on. Like, I do some damage, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what he's doing now. But I think these guys tend to have a better game sense. You know, they're much more easily able to navigate this. Is he not mining? Oh, he's only got 1 guy in gas right now. Okay. I've seen 2 before. I don't often see 1, but I guess he wants to do the quickest expand you can do. And you just barely have enough gas for Dragoons as you go on with this.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is a perfectly fine response as well. I know Artosis and I were talking about ways to punish the Terran.
Yeah.
There's also ways to just exploit the fact that, you know, look, Terran doesn't actually have an army right now. He's expanding, so what's to stop you from taking your own base?
Totally.
And that's exactly what we're seeing right here.
No, I think it's great play. So, Saint Gateway is coming up, so is the range, and he'll be able to put a little bit of pressure on this bunker eventually when that range finishes. Now, will we see the second factory from Last, or will he in fact go into that starport play? We'll see.
Yeah, that's what we're wondering. So we should have the Robo coming up here in a little bit. Interesting to see he got a second gate right away there. I guess if he only had 1 on the gas earlier on, he probably wouldn't have the gas for the Robo immediately, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. The build starting to come together on both sides. eBay, that's very standard. You just kind of blindly need to get that.
Now, keep in mind, guys, there is a huge main here.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of locations where you could actually ferry in Dragoons or Zealots and then just try to push inside the main. So, I mean, this strategy is not without its own vulnerabilities. In fact, there's even a huge cavity over behind where the minerals are for the natural expansion.
Goes into the second factory, so not going to go with that starport, but that's all right. I think that both these guys in pretty even positions at the moment. I think Last probably is pretty happy with where he's at, but he's going to have to buy some turrets. He doesn't know exactly where Horang2's going with this.
So he's putting pressure on here with these Dragoons. Now you need 1 SCV for every Dragoon that's firing to get the repair up here. And it's funny, because this actually does cost the Terran quite a bit.
It does, yeah.
It seems like initially it's a fruitless endeavor because you're never going to take this out, but actually 4 SCVs not mining and repairing, eating up some of your money, that's actually quite a bit. Yeah. And this is one thing the Protoss can do, and they never have to go out of their way to make this work. You always have Dragoons at this phase of the game. You always get Dragoon range right away.
Yeah. And this can be a little bit tricky for Terran too. You have to keep rechecking it, because notice how one of the goons starts targeting the barracks a little bit. That means the SCVs will over-repair, and it will get all the way healed, and they'll stop repairing. So you got to be careful about that as well. So there's little tricks you can do as a Protoss to try to screw up the Terran and make him pay more attention.
Okay, so here's that Reaver tech we were talking about. This seems to basically be the norm nowadays in PvT. Is like, why would you not get a Reaver right away?
Yeah.
It's funny, too, because I'm so used to the older way of playing the game where you just always get observers out right away and try to look around the map, but it seems like, you know, with the Reaver, you're at least going to scout what they're doing anyways because you're harassing them.
Yeah.
And you might be able to get some kills. Of course, a Reaver and a Shuttle comboed together with the Dragoons, it actually is great for fighting mech as well.
Yeah.
You're just going to one-shot vultures and take out tanks pretty easily.
It's quite true. The Reaver is definitely very useful, and you know, people have a much better understanding nowadays of what the Reaver actually does, because even just the damage of forcing a bunch of turrets out and forcing attention from the Terran to always be on the mini-map at that stage of the game, those are useful things as well. By the way, a starport is coming up, and that's going to help out against the Reaver a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a really smart adaptation from the Protoss players to say, okay, let's keep this Terran honest, because a lot of times there's nothing else you really can do to a Terran early on.
And there's that island base. It's not exactly an island. Obviously, probes and SCVs can get through there, but that is it. Drones, too. Right, here we
now,
go.
there's 2 Zealots in here and a Reaver. So what you can do is you can drop the Zealot initially. That'll draw all the fire in, and then you can put the Reaver out and try to get a shot off. But it looks like he's playing pretty carefully right now.
Yeah, he's poking in. Last defense is basically perfect right now. He's moving his vultures to mirror the shuttle, and he's got tanks sieged up. He's got enough turrets, you can't really do anything. So this, so far, they have just been tit for tat, Tasteless.
Yeah.
Like, this has been fantastic on both sides. No one has flinched even, you know? There's really just not been damage anywhere.
I'm glad we're actually having like a normal PvT here.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, like the Reaver didn't do a ton of damage and set everything off, and Terran is growing at a normal rate, so Protoss has to try to match that by continuously out-expanding them.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, the Protoss operates a lot like the way we would think a Zerg operates in this matchup specifically. The Protoss has these kind of flimsy units but can run around the map taking bases.
Yeah.
And trying to out-expand, where the Terran is eventually going to have the better army, so Protoss wants to try to counterattack or use stasis to lock out a certain chunk of that army and pick a smaller fight. And maybe use carriers to try to hit over areas where they can't be very easily defended. Oh, hold on.
Oh, this is a huge moment. This is the first misstep that we've seen this game. Last definitely gaining an advantage right there.
So he knew that those probes were going to be transferring.
Yeah, and he actually had some mines in the path.
Yeah.
That the Dragoons hadn't cleared. So he saw the probes coming. He was like, oh, here we go. And he clears all those probes out. That's a good, solid set of probe kills.
That actually really hurts the Protoss a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Now, I'm still waiting to see, are we going to have a Templar Archives, or is he going to try to go into carriers?
Well, I think for sure this is carrier. And that's because I haven't seen the Citadel. Like, you'll generally have the Templar Archives already being made, at least by now.
Oh, there's been no Citadel at all? I actually did not catch
I did not see a Citadel
unless
at all.
we missed it.
Yeah. Which I think that this is a very good choice for a map like this to go Quick Carrier. Quick Carrier has actually come so much back into style right now, which is really funny, because for a long time it was just like the openings that we saw, right? But then eventually into Arbiters and just kind of utilizing those for a long time. But Yeah, carriers are kind of the flavor of the month right now.
Okay, well, here comes a drop, and it's just Zealots to defend. I mean, 2 Vultures, if controlled correctly, will always lose this. Okay, here come the Reavers, though. Some nice firing. Oh,
This
wow.
drop was amazing, though. Look at how many probes he got. And the thing is, he already killed a bunch of probes that were on their way up here. For just 2 Vultures to cost that much lost mining time, kill, what, 5 probes or something, and force the Reavers to come up here? Last is making a lot of good moves.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm getting a little bit worried here for Horang2 because this might be one of these games where there's a couple really nice jabs coming in here from Last, and then we watch the army of Last push out and just kills everything, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's what happens if you lose that many probes. He just has more stuff than you.
Totally.
Now, I think having a Reaver is going to be helpful here, but it needs to get the right connections off.
Oh, he's doing so well with this. He scouts what's happening with the Observer and tries to get his Reavers in, but a nice pullback from Last. Last needs that 3rd base. Like a flower needs the sun, Tasteless. Like it is so important to get your 3rd gas up when you're trying to counter carriers because you need your 2-1 and you need a lot of Goliaths.
Okay, he's making 2 Citadels. This tells me that our Protoss player is not that comfortable right now.
Yeah.
That is when the stress is really kicking into high gear. He made 2 Citadels next to each other.
Yeah, that is kind of the funny part, right? If they were in 2 different locations, I understand it a little bit more. Looks like he loses a Reaver. The Reaver's really not getting much done. Last defense is so on point.
Okay, we got more gateways coming down here. Zealots are gathering up. Again, no legs yet from either of those 2 Citadels. I'm getting worried, man. Terran's caught up in supply artosis.
Yeah.
I think eventually we're just going to have Terran reach across the map and basically just smash through anything that Horang2 has. I mean, the carriers it's going to take a long time before those actually kick in.
I do think you're right. Like, Last is definitely in the lead here. But the supplies can be a little bit tricky as well, right? Because we're going to have a fight, and a lot of it's just going to come down to this very first fight. Can everything soak up enough for the carriers to be able to end up picking off a lot of siege tanks? Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. This is just getting worse.
Oh, he's just going to lose, like, every probe again.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is really unfortunate. You know, this is such a technical takedown here by Last. He stayed completely, like, steely perfectly here, and he just keeps throwing out a few drop ships and just taking out probes here and there. I mean, it's like, it's just slowing the Protoss down further and further and further. Like I said, eventually that big push is going to come out, and I just don't think that Horang2 is going to have enough.
No, maybe not. Like, to lose this many probes this many times. The fact that he has 2 speed zealots on defensive duty in the top right just confuses me. I think he should have just dropped one of the Reavers there, to be honest.
I was going to say, you can just have a Reaver sit there where the workers are, and Terran never kills anything in a million years.
Yeah.
But
runs and kills 2 probes, and all the Vultures are dead. It's like, all right, there we go.
I don't know about this expand over here.
Yeah.
It might be wiser to try to attack somewhere else. Now, he's going to do this play. We've seen more and more of this.
Yeah, this is
the Reavers and the carriers coming in and hitting at this angle that would force all the Goliaths to come back and defend this other location.
And this is a great move. This type of harassment really kind of abuses the main base position here of Last. So this is another annoying thing about how they're positioned, because he's so far out of here. The Vultures come back. Those don't counter carriers. Okay, here are the Goliaths.
Did he get that dropship?
Did he get it? I don't think he did. I think it got away.
I don't know. I don't know what that red unit is at the top center.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, so Horang2's almost maxed out. He's getting a few more carriers here.
Yeah, and since he has 2 Citadels, hopefully he's gotten Zealot legs now. So
yes.
That is the most important thing to get after
one
your
upgrade
carriers.
for each leg. But when Terran maxes out, Terran's not a 2-1 yet, right?
He's going to be soon.
Okay, so we're just waiting. Once that 2-1's up, it's 1-1
right
now.
It just finished as they touched it, which means the +2 will be done pretty quickly. And that is where the interceptors really die quickly. So he should have a pretty good clutch of tanks, probably 10, 12 tanks, something like that. A lot of Vultures, a lot of Goliaths. Let's see him how he pushes here. Ooh! Some nice Scarabs.
Yep.
Definitely gets some decent damage on there, but once the siege tanks are in range of everything, he needs to just get out.
He's doing a pretty good job with these Reavers. He drops in, the Goliaths come forward, the Reavers fire at the Goliaths.
Gosh. Really, he's doing fantastically right now slowing this push. because he needs to slow it a lot. Those carriers now need to start picking off whatever they can. He's got 4. That's where they get pretty dangerous. Oh, no.
Okay,
oh, no.
Defensive
Run,
Matrix,
Horang2, run.
I don't know about this.
This is not going to work, Tasteless.
This is also what my games look like. Artos
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, so the carriers are trying to hit these Goliaths, but already down to 2 carriers here. Tanks are always going to be just Dragoons in a fight like that.
Yeah. That defense
Oh my god,
matrix,
even gets the Reaver.
when I saw that defense matrix, my little Terran heart went pitter-patter, pitter-patter.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that was like, I'm like, okay, yeah, he won this battle already. That defensive matrix is so insane.
That was basically the most ideal
Yeah.
location to hit that at.
Okay, he has another round of gateway units, so let's see what he can get done. He doesn't have that many carriers left, but there's not that many Goliaths as well. If he can reduce the siege tank count all the way, that is a big step in the right direction.
Seems like he was actually trying to do the hold position micro where he just drives away the interceptors. Ugh.
Yeah, and that might be even what he wants to do right now. When you have the +2 attack upgrade, interceptors get absolutely wrecked. And it's a great way to you're costing them money. And if the carriers don't have interceptors, they're paperweights.
Yeah, they don't do anything. Okay, so he's gathering up some more. I'm just worried. The pressure's really mounting here for Horang2, and this push is getting closer and closer. Terran is actually at the point in time where they can suddenly take control of the map, and the Protoss has to try to counter, and it looks like oh my god. Oh man, he's going to be able to take out way more workers this way.
He's got to be careful not to get the Goliaths too far in front. If the Zealots could get on top of them, that would be amazing. But those 5 siege tanks are really messing everything up. If you can kill all the siege tanks one time, the Protoss can absolutely win. Now look at this. He's trying to get on top of them now with these Zealots. That's a big moment.
Okay, some of these Zealots are coming in here, trying to hit those wounded tanks. The Goliaths immediately pounce on top of these carriers. One carrier almost goes down.
Yeah, and he actually loses all the forward tanks. He should have at least a couple more at home. But this was actually pretty decent for Horang2, I have to say. Yeah, he's down in supply right now, and we see Last is taking a lot of command centers all over the place. So it's not that Last is necessarily dead or anything, but when you lose that many siege tanks, you know, you're spending so much of your gas getting the Goliaths and getting the upgrades.
Yeah.
You might not even have that many add-ons and everything. So now the gateway units are going to be what's really scary out of Horang2, not the carriers as much.
This is really impressive stuff here by Last. I'm worried that even though Horang2's hanging on, Last is simply going to outgrow him. He's going to take all these bases. I don't think Horang2's going to have an easy time getting another expansion up anywhere. Yeah, he definitely needs to make some cannons over there. He needs some static defense for sure.
Yeah. Well, Last is getting really big. It's pretty, like, I'm always jealous of Terrans. I see it like this. It's like he's attacking this crazy attack, then you look back, he has 3 new command centers. Oh my god.
Yeah.
These vultures get in and are actually taking out quite a few probes. Really nicely done. He's been injuring the economy of Horang2 all game, man.
Yeah, he's going to have to just continuously remake probes. The problem is that all the attention really is on Horang2's side of the map. Horang2's not... The only thing Horang2's done is not die yet. Does that make sense? Now he's going to try to come in here with these carriers, and this is a lot of carriers. This is actually a real threat.
Yeah, the carriers now can start doing things like going into the main, hitting this, going back to defend. And if he starts running his army around a little bit more, that's really going to be fantastic for Horang2. You know, we have that little set of mines in the middle of the map. That is kind of the safety net right now of Last for those bases on the left-hand side.
Okay, so Last decides to pull the trigger. He's just going to come right up here and say, you have to bring these carriers back home. Protoss is not big enough on the map where they can afford to lose 1 or 2 expansions. Every expansion is so important.
Yeah, he's got to stay out of range of these siege tanks. Look at this, 3-2 upgrades. That ground army will just evaporate. I think that this is the best play. Run your ground army away, maybe even counterattack if you can squeeze them through. But force Last to turn around.
Okay, here come the Dragoons and the carriers. Siege tanks sieging up. The Dragoons, oh my god. Did you just see how much died right there? It's like 5
insane.
Dragoons exploded.
Yeah, man, these upgrades are...
At this point in time, Last can win a fight on the ground and in the air here.
Yeah. You see the Dragoons just completely evaporate to these siege tanks. He's reduced the tank count quite dramatically again, but...
there it goes. GG, nicely done. Well, Last just showing how powerful of a player he is back there.
Yeah.
But look, I think that game 1 was a little bumpy. I think